Who's the top quarterback of 2026? Which gunslinger is going to have the best possible season and probably win the Heisman?
Who's ranked, who's real, who's built to last, who got exposed, who's moving fast? From the HBCU pride to the Power 5, let's we talk football every week, every night. Fans in the stands, drums on go, lights on bright, and the crowd moves slow. Big hits, ball picks, everybody knows. Daniel Roundtree got the football show.
Ahoy! I'm Daniel Roundtree. This is the Daniel Roundtree College Football Show. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we got another good episode for you. Listen, I appreciate you being here, so thank you so much for tuning in. As you know, it's a new day. That means it is a good day to talk college football. So since you're already here, you might as well go ahead, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, go ahead and like this video, turn on the alerts. What's it gonna hurt? I appreciate you being here, and we got more content just like this coming your way. I'm not going to waste no time with y'all today. Today, we are talking the top 10 quarterbacks in college football. And unlike other videos that I've done in the past, I really want you to see everybody I got on the list. Because today, we're going to talk about, okay, why they are ranked where they are. We're not going to go into every single stat and every single statistical category in regards to the different guys on this list. We're going to purely talk about and debate, you and I, why this guy is ranked right here and if he can move up and if he's actually better than some of the other guys on this list with that eyeball test, okay? So I'm going to read off the list, and then I'm going to tell you why I ranked them where I ranked them. And then you and I, we can go back and forth. Drop a comment. Let me know where I got it wrong. I want to hear from you, okay? So let's get right into it. At number 10, we have Josh Hoover, formerly at TCU. Now he's gone over to Indiana. At number 9, we have Jayden Maiava right there in USC for the Trojans. At number 8, we have Sam Leavitt, formerly at Arizona State, now at LSU, playing for the Lane Train, Lane Kiffin, for those Tigers. At number 7, we have John Mateer, formerly Washington State, now at Oklahoma in year 2 at Oklahoma. At number 6, we have Arch Manning, University of Texas, one of the few guys that didn't transfer at all on this list. At number 5, we have Julian Sayin, formerly at Alabama. You're seeing a trend, right? Now at Ohio State. He's been at Ohio State for several years now since Nick Saban left. In fact, he never played it down at Alabama. So he's one we can't say too much when it comes to transferring. At number 4, CJ Carr, another guy only at Notre Dame, hasn't been to any other school. Gotta love the loyalty. At number 3, I believe he was at Dixie State and then played at Ole Miss last season. Trinidad Chamberliss. He's a guy, one of the older guys on this list, going to be really good this year. At number 2, I got to give a little dramatic pause because I think my list is a little different than some of the other lists. But at number 2, I have Dante Moore, formerly at UCLA, an Oregon Duck. He's been at Oregon a couple of seasons. This will be his second season as a starter. Finally, at number 1, we have Darian Mensah, formerly at Duke, formerly at Tulane, now at the University of Miami. We know Miami has been developing guys and getting them into the NFL. Let's get into the list. Let's get into why are the quarterbacks ranked where they're ranked. I think an important stat that I want to kind of talk about with all these guys can sling the ball. That's why they're in the top 10. Keep in mind, there's 129 FBS schools in college football. These are the top 10 quarterbacks. They're all at schools that have potential to win a national championship. I think there's going to be small little nuances that I'm going to explain to you on why certain guys are above other guys, right? Let's talk about it. For Josh Hoover, coming over from TCU, I think he made the right move in transferring. Although I do think Sonny Dykes is a great quarterback coach. You saw him do it at SMU. You saw him do it at other places. I think he's a great quarterback coach, but he hasn't really had elite quarterback talent go into the NFL and be good. Now he's going over to Curt Cignetti over there at Indiana. I think this is a match made in heaven for Josh Hoover and for Curt Cignetti, losing the number 1 overall draft pick in Francisco Mendoza. So for Josh, the reason he's number 10 on this list Josh is a big-time athlete. He's got a big-time arm. I think he can make all the throws. And I also want to say before I even get into my evaluation, I think Josh is going to heavily move up this list as the season goes on. I just haven't seen him play in an Indiana uniform. I've only seen what he's done at TCU. And one thing that I definitely noticed in me watching Josh in certain games is he kind of changes under pressure, right? And there's another guy on this list. I'm not going to say his name. He's the same way. Josh changes under pressure, and for that reason, I think he needs to go over to Indiana and definitely get coached up a little bit more in regards to making his reads, staying cool, calm, and collected under pressure, and get some of that Curt Cignetti quarterback whisperer magic. I think Josh Hoover is a really good athlete. He's not the best athlete on this list, no chance at that, but I think he's deceptive, right? He's a faster guy than a lot of people think. He can get up and go, and he can make all the passes. I just want to see what he's going to do this year with Nick Marsh, with, is it Charlie Becker? With the different guys that Indiana has. I do think with all the back shoulder throws they do in RPOs, statistically wise, Josh Hoover is probably going to end up top 5 on this list. But for the reasons mentioned, that's why he's at number 10. At number 9 for Jayden Maiava, listen, Jayden Maiava is in year 3 at USC. Jayden Maiava has definitely flashed. He's flashed some greatness, right? Some beautiful throws. He's had really good receivers to throw to. Some top 10 wide receiver talents. Mekhi Lemon was really good last year at USC. The thing I don't like about Jayden is sometimes it's like he hesitates in using his legs versus using his arm, and he'll be trying to run in situations he should have just threw it. Or vice versa, he'll be throwing in situations where he could have easily just got the first down and ran the ball. I think Jayden Maiava is really good. This will be year 3 in Lincoln Riley's system. So I just need to see his evolution. I go back and I watch the Notre Dame game, and I feel like Jayden Maiava made a lot of mistakes in that game that cost them to lose the game against Notre Dame. He was playing good. The surrounding and supporting cast was playing good. They did enough to win, but Jayden Maiava just didn't take them over that hump. And some of the other guys on this list, they got that clutch gene. Yeah, they're not losing the big games. And if they do lose the big games, it's probably not going to be their fault. Listen, football is a team sport. The quarterback controls a lot of that, right? But he doesn't control everything. I really want to see him take that step this year to be the guy in certain situations, to make the big time plays, whether with his leg or with his arm. And if he does that, he's going to solidify himself as a top draft pick. But that's why I have Jayden Maiava at number 9. At number 8, Sam Leavitt. Listen, Sam Leavitt, athletically wise, is one of the most athletic guys on this list. Don't get it confused because he might lack a little melanin. Listen, Sam Leavitt can run. This guy is ultra athletic. I believe he's from the state of Texas. He can throw it. You got to really look at a full season of Sam Leavitt when he was healthy to really understand what he's capable of. Last year was tough. He had a lot of mistakes last year, and he also had a lot of injuries, which ended his year, and that's a big reason why he left Kenny Dillingham and he went to join the Lane Train at LSU. I think the reason I have him at number 8, the biggest reason for Sam, he's coming off an injured season. He's learning a whole new playbook, and he's going to have limited time, very limited time with the type of injury he had to go into the season, get chemistry with his receivers, and then go right into the SEC and play all of these really big-time football games. I really want to see what he's going to do. I don't know how high or how low Sam is going to end up on this list because you never know how good a guy is going to be after a serious injury. You saw Carson Beck do it last year at Miami, right? And Carson Beck ended up in the national championship. We could see that with Sam Leavitt. Or it could be a injury-riddled season where he's never right again. I don't want to wish that on anybody, but that's a big reason why I have him at number 8. And we talking Sam Leavitt from 2 years ago when he went to the college football playoffs and dang near brought his team all the way back to beat Texas. That Sam's a top 5 quarterback. Sam played great in that game. And yes, he made some mistakes, but I think when he mixed his rare blend of athleticism and ability to throw the ball, he's going to be a top guy. But for now, he's at number 8 on this list. Number 7, John Mateer. If the Heisman Trophy was given away halfway through the season after about 6 games, John would have got that bad boy. He would have got the Heisman. He was playing at an elite level in the first half of the season. Scary good. Then he hurts his hand, and it's like he never really got right from the Texas game on. Now, he had good games in between that, don't get it twisted, obviously, because OU made it into the playoffs. But the Texas game really exposed some of John Mateer's weaknesses and how he looks under pressure. And when you have guys as athletic as John Mateer, so we talked about Sam Leavitt. John Mateer, another one, don't get it twisted because he lacks a little melanin. John Mateer can run. This guy is a super athlete. He can do everything you need him to do, from throwing the deep ball, throwing the intermediate passes, making those far wide outside passes, along with making it happen all on his own with his legs. And in my opinion, from a running threat, John Mateer was the biggest running threat for OU last year. After the injury, he just made too many mistakes. He tried to still do it all, and I think his hand wasn't really right on his throwing hand. He had a lot of interceptions, a lot of costly turnovers, fumbles. That's why he's number 7 on this list. I think he has high potential. I think for John Mateer, he's got to be able to trust the guys around him. And the biggest thing for OU, they got to develop a run game, because any quarterback who's kind of tasked with doing it all, you're going to make mistakes. The more times you drop back, the higher chance it can go 50-50. 50-50, you make the play. 50-50, you don't make the play. So that's why John Mateer is at number 7. He's another one I think may move up this list. We don't know. At number 6, we got Arch Manning. Listen, I need y'all to calm down. Calm down on the Arch train a little bit. I think when we make these lists, we have to look at the actual season when they play the full body of work and not just go off of potential. That drives me crazy. I get his last name is Manning. I get that Arch Manning. Again, don't get it twisted that he lacks a little melanin. Arch Manning might be one of the best athletes on this entire list. However, just because his last name is Manning and he can do what some of his fellow family members could do in regards to throw the ball all over the yard, doesn't mean you just anoint him as the top quarterback in college football. What does the eye say? What does it look like when he's on the field playing these games? Well, what I see, Arch Manning is really inconsistent when we talk game to game. You watch Arch Manning from Texas A&M and then Arch Manning from the University of Texas, two totally different guys. Texas A&M Arch Manning is a first-round draft pick, probably top 3. He played amazing in that game. He made all the right decisions and right reads, from running the ball, which he is a super threat when it comes to his legs, to throwing the ball to his guys. I think Arch Manning is going to end up top 3 on this list this year. Let me tell you why. So I've heard rumors that Arch Manning was hurt in the first half of the season. And if that's true, that makes sense, because a lot of the inconsistencies you saw, even in some of the games that weren't big games against lesser talent, it seemed like Arch Manning was just off. He was just overthrowing wide receivers by far, or underthrowing wide receivers. If he had an injury and it just wasn't disclosed, and the receiving core he's going to have this year with Cam Coleman, Ryan Wingo, Emmett Mosley, those guys are scary. He's going to have some real weapons to throw to this year. So Arch Manning, I think, can end up top 3. But based off the full body of work last year and how he looked in actual games when he played actual football, and if you didn't know his name and it was just a jersey, Arch Manning is number 6. He's not top 5, but he can be, and he has the potential to do so. At number 5, we have Julian Sayin, Ohio State. So listen, here's another guy. If you only watched him play, 12 games before they got to the Big Ten title, and then before they played Miami in the playoffs, you would think this guy for sure is top 3. Julian Sayin had a phenomenal season. You can't always go by just the ending and evaluate the guy. You got to evaluate him game to game. I think the only thing that scares me with Julian Sayin is what we saw in the playoffs and in the Big Ten title, and how he reacts to pressure. I think the tough part of that is they're playing all these games without having any pressure because they're blowing everybody out. He also had last year 2 just scary good wide receivers. There's multiple passes that you can go back and look at of Jeremiah Smith's highlight tape or Carnell Tate's highlight tape, where they just went and got the ball and it wasn't necessarily the best pass. So I'm excited to see him this year. I'm even more excited to see if he stays the year after this year, and him being a top potential NFL draft pick. I want to see what he does without a guy like Jeremiah Smith, right? But with those guys, extremely talented, I just want to see him get better under pressure and be able to still make those reads, sit in the pocket, take the hit, and get the ball out to his guys We all know what happened against Indiana, sacked 5 times. We all know what happened against Miami, sacked 5 times and multiple interceptions. That's what happens, right, when you have a younger guy. He's going to develop this year. At number 4, we have CJ Carr. Listen, CJ Carr is one of those guys that he's only, a redshirt sophomore. CJ Carr is really good. I think the thing that hurts CJ Carr and why he's number 4 on this list is primarily that he's young. I hate to say it, but it's just the truth. These other guys might do things that CJ Carr can't do, but he can absolutely do things that they can't do as well. CJ Carr has very little weaknesses. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He can make every single throw. He's great at downfield passes. And although he's a gunslinger, he's making calculated gunslinger risk. That's the type of guy you absolutely want at your quarterback position. When he's throwing up those 50-50 balls, he was throwing it up to Malachi Fields, his 6'5" receiver with a crazy vertical, right? He's not throwing it up to the smaller guys like Jaden Greathouse or whatever in regards to the games that I've seen. He also kind of has a little bit of that moxie, right? A little bit of that swag. I don't know if you've seen any of CJ Carr's interviews, but with CJ Carr, I like the way he talks, right? You need your quarterback to have that ultimate confidence, and I think he's a guy that's going to have a great NFL career. I just don't think he's quite better than any of the top 3. That's why I have him at number 4 on this list. Okay, here we go into the top 3. Listen, all 3 of these guys are elite. Any of them could have been number 1. You gonna argue with me with my number 1? I don't care. It's my list. You let me know in the comments who I got right, who I got wrong. But at number 3 with Trinidad Chamberliss, listen, Trinidad Chamberliss is one of the oldest guys on this list. But in regards to a quarterback who can do it all, I don't care about his height. I don't care about his age. I don't care about any of that. He can do it all. He's a true mobile quarterback. Go watch the first time they played Georgia. If you don't believe me in regards to his mobile capability, he's absolutely a guy that can win the game on his own for his team. Even in their loss to Miami, Trinidad Chamberliss was electric. He was lights out and he was running for his life a lot of that game. He still didn't really make any crucial mistakes. They had an opportunity to go down and score to potentially win the game at the end of the game. Trinidad Chamberliss can throw the ball. He can run the ball. He makes extremely smart reads. And at the beginning of the year, he wasn't even the starter. That's the crazy part, right? Austin Simmons got hurt. Trinidad Chamberliss stepped into the SEC coming from Dixie State, right? He played at a Division II school, never looked back. I think this year, especially with his age and experience, he won a Division II title. He dang near won a national title last year. Let's just be honest. If they beat Miami, it would have been a good game against Indiana. I don't think they would have beat Indiana, but my point is he's played big-time football. He has so much experience. He's an older guy, 6th year of eligibility granted. Trinidad Chamberliss, absolutely top 3 on this list. Could have been number 1, but we have him number 3 for right now. Okay, top 2. At number 2, we had Dante Moore. Listen, with Dante Moore, I've seen him on so many of these lists as the number 1 quarterback. I disagree. The reason why is for Dante Moore, he's another guy who I think needs to develop that clutch gene. He still was a younger quarterback, right? But you saw Dante Moore really make some crucial mistakes in key games against Penn State, against Iowa, against Ohio State, right? Some really crucial mistakes. And I think when you look at Dante Moore, he can do it all. He just has to fix that. He can run. He's one of the more athletic guys on this list, even though he doesn't really run unless he needs to, which if I were a coach, I would want that type of quarterback. I don't want a quarterback who's going to risk himself getting injured and running all the time, and that's the best part of his game. I want a guy like Dante Moore who can run if he needs to, but he wants to throw the ball and get it out in space to his guys. Dante Moore is probably going to be the top pick next year for quarterbacks. I don't know. I think it's going to be a big toss-up between him and my number 1 when we talk that 2027 draft. But Dante Moore has great wide receivers around him, great offensive staff in regards to the scheme that protects what he does well. I want to see him get over those blunders last year. Pick 6, first play in the game against Indiana. Those type of things can't happen in the clutch. You can't be seen as the top quarterback and have those type of mental errors and mental mistakes. He had some mental errors and mental mistakes also against Penn State. Go back and watch that game. Penn State blew it with some dropped interceptions. So Dante Moore is going to be really good. He's going to have a great season this year. If he eliminates those mistakes, Oregon is going to probably win their first national championship ever. They've been to one. They just never won one. Finally, at number 1, we have Darian Mensah. Listen, this guy has been good at every level since he played as a true freshman at Tulane. I feel like so many people forget he led the country in passing last year at Duke. At the University of Duke, he led the entire country in yards. Darian Mensah is a really good quarterback, and I think the reason I edged him at number 1 over Dante Moore, over Trinidad Chamberliss, over CJ Carr is 2 reasons. One, I think Darian Mensah's experience in playing at a small school and having to essentially be David versus Goliath is absolutely going to help him now that he's at a top school like Miami and is going to have a really good offensive line and great perimeter players to help him. I think experience matters for quarterbacks, especially in college. When you have that experience of knowing what it feels like to make quick reads, just because you don't no longer have to make quick reads doesn't mean it isn't auto-framed into your framework, into your brain to make those quick reads. If you watch Darian Mensah all last year, he makes really good reads and he throws a beautiful deep ball. I think he also has had some really big critical mistakes. If you watch a lot of his body of work and a lot of his games, I think the thing I like about Darian Mensah and why he's number 1 is he doesn't make the big mistakes in the clutch. He'll make the mistakes early where he's testing the defense, and then he locks in. Go watch the Duke versus Virginia game. That went into overtime, and the big reason they came back and won the ACC title is because of Darian Mensah's play. He's absolutely going to be one of the best, if not the best quarterback in the ACC. He could very well be the number 1 overall pick if he has a great final season with Miami. But he led the country in passing yards for a reason at Duke. And though Duke threw the ball a lot, they weren't just a throwing team. They weren't a Washington State or some of these teams that just throw. You got to go watch their games to really understand why Darian Mensah is so good. My absolute favorite thing about Mensah is he hardly ever misses the home run. He hardly ever misses the guy who's wide open, streaking into the end zone. Too many times you see some of these other guys on this list miss those guys and miss an easy 7, an easy 6 points. Darian Mensah hardly ever misses those. That's why he's the number 1 quarterback on this list. So let me know, who did I miss? Did I leave somebody off the top 10? We didn't do an honorable mention on this one. So did I leave somebody off the top 10? Is somebody ranked too low that should be ranked higher? Let me know in the comments. I want to know who I left off and who I got right. But thank you so much for tuning in. Again, this is the Daniel Roundtree College Football Show.
Daniel Roundtree got the football show.